There's something special about Christmas, isn't there? The lights, the presents, the person on our walls trying to murder us in our sleep. What, just us? Fine, what about the creepy phone calls that tell us,
I'm going to bury the hatchet in your head.
Oh wait, don't worry. So long as you don't live in a house where a guy made Christmas cookies out of his mother, then you're in the clear. At least you would be if you were in the world of today's subject. Because today on Real Slashers, we're getting into all of the sorority mayhem as we cover the 2006 remake of Black Christmas. Hey guys and gals, I'm Tyler Nichols with JoBlo Horror Originals, and thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Real Slashers. This is one I've been waiting to do for quite some time. But you know, Christmas only comes around once a year. There are a few films that I have such a desire to defend, while simultaneously understanding any gripes that one may have against it, because the Black Christmas remake is pure trash. But as a purveyor of the finest trash life has to offer, we here at JoBlo Horror Originals absolutely adore it. And if you give it a chance, you will too. Spoilers ahead.
Everyone should be home for Christmas.
I'll be home for Christmas. I'm going to bury the hatchet in your head.
The movie starts off with a bang, with some glorious Christmas music blaring and setting up the tone perfectly. Follow that up with a sorority that looks straight out of a Hallmark Christmas movie and a little introduction to some of our characters. Then bam, one of the girls is not long for this world. We get a nice little homage to the original. Because as much as this movie really likes to do its own thing, there are certainly some fun callbacks. The movie intercuts between two stories. The sorority house with the "and then there were none" style of picking off of the sisters, and the story of Billy. In the original, we don't get much backstory, and it's kinda better off for it, but here we get the whole shebang. We'll get into more during the killer section, but we get to watch Billy break out of the mental hospital, as well as how he got so messed up, and what landed him there in the first place. Trust me, it wasn't pretty. The story in the present is kill after kill as we have less and less sorority sisters to remember the names of, and it is glorious. There are plenty of recognizable faces with Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Crystal Lowe, Michelle Trachtenberg, Lacey Chabert, and Katie Cassidy as the sorority sisters. And we've even got Andrea Martin from the original, this time playing house mother Miss Mac. And Oliver Hudson makes such a good douchebag red herring.
Merry Christmas, asshole.
Fuck all you bitches.
But nearly every character is disposable, and it makes for a bloody good time. That doesn't mean that these characters aren't likable. Take Lauren and her whole speech dissecting Christmas.
And fucking Santa Claus? This fat voyeur that watches you all year long to make sure you live up to his standards of decency before breaking into your house? And that is different from what Billy did. How?
That's my kind of Grinch. And these girls are so combative towards one another, it brings a friction that adds nicely to the tension of a killer residing somewhere in the house. If you don't like those movies where only the final girl survives, then you should probably look elsewhere. But that wasn't even the original intention. Trachtenberg's Melissa was originally supposed to survive the whole ordeal, along with Kelly, but the actress was insistent that she die. She was a big horror movie fan and wanted to die on screen, and she also didn't want to be shoehorned into just being a horror actress. I guess because of Buffy? And I can respect that. It also gives the film an even meaner side, as it's a character that was intended to live and they don't make it. And this wasn't the only character whose fate was changed, but this time by monsters. See, the original ending would have seen Lee and Kelly at the hospital when they receive a phone call from Billy, signaling that he's alive. It'd be a nice throwback to the original film and keep things open-ended. Well, that wasn't enough for the old monsters, so a new ending was worked up. Agnes and Billy descended upon the hospital and Lee gets her neck snapped. Agnes gets fried, and Billy finds himself getting tangled up on a Christmas tree. And it's such a harsh bookend to the film that I really can't imagine the movie ending any other way. Oh no, do I agree with the monsters? Well, broken clock and all that.
Unless I see otherwise, I'm believing that Claire is alive. And when she comes back, it is not gonna be to an empty house.
We are safer sticking together.
All right. Then get your coats. Mel, come on, we're leaving, let's go!
I'm not leaving Lauren, you bitch!
There are many moments that we could look at here for slicing up a scene. The ending in the hospital feels like something that we would see just a few years later in Scream 4. Then the showdown in the attic gets quite fiery. But I've always loved films that shift things on a dime, and it's hard to accomplish this without a proper twist. But what Black Christmas does is, in the moment where it seems like some of the girls will get away, we lose not one, not two, but four, all in the span of just 4 minutes. First, there's Heather and Miss Mac, who are heading out to the car to get help. Heather is murdered by Billy in some way that causes blood to just spray the windshield of the car. What in the world happened in there? This causes poor Miss Mac to meet her demise from a falling icicle. No sooner is Melissa being strangled by Agnes over the balcony after a brief struggle. Just when it seems like Melissa may escape out the window, Agnes hits her with the old "I escape to the back of the head" routine. Then poor hungover Heather. She just wants to sleep. We've all been there. And she even has a bit of Spidey sense to her. But it's not enough to get out of Agnes's deadly clutches. Losing so many characters back to back feels like a gut punch. I assume the reason we got so many deaths all at once was due to Trachtenberg's insistence that she die, so they just added it in where they could, which resulted in a bunch of characters dying back to back. That's at least what I'm positing. Few films are ballsy enough to do this, as they don't have that large enough of a group of characters to even facilitate it. But the flashbacks and mental asylum help to keep the deaths rolling, to even allow such a rapid-fire sequence of events.
I'm not your family. And your brother's not here.
No, my daddy's here.
Billy made such an impression with just his voice and a lone eye in the original Bob Clark classic that the remake certainly had big shoes to fill. So taking from some dialogue in that movie,
It's me, Billy.
the filmmakers, at the behest of Dimension Films, decided to add another character, Billy's sister-daughter. Yeah, you heard that right. We see via flashbacks that Billy didn't have the greatest of childhoods. His mother is neglectful, and his dad just kinda puts up with it. Oh, and Billy looks like he lives in Springfield, with jaundicey yellow skin. And one Christmas, Billy's mother and her lover kill Billy's father and bury him under the porch. This results in Billy staying up in the attic, being a creep and staring at his neighbors. But that's only the beginning. Billy's new stepdad isn't exactly virile, so she uses Billy as a sperm donor, hence Brother Father Billy.
No, my daddy's here.
No, Agnes, that's your brother daddy, at the very least. Being the product of incest, Agnes is deformed and not all there mentally. After Billy tears out her eyeball and makes Christmas cookies out of their mother, he's finally arrested, and things sure do get gruesome. While we can't show you much here, Agnes has a love for eyeballs, and so, despite the abbreviated deaths, they more than make up for it with gross moments. Billy and Agnes were portrayed by Robert Mann and Dean Fries, and they're as over the top as they need to be for the roles. Billy and Agnes also get quite busy as they account for 14 kills in the film. Then there's Miss Mac, who gets killed by the falling icicle, Billy's father, who gets killed by Billy's mom and stepfather, and then Billy and Agnes themselves in the end. That means we get a total of 18 kills here. Just to put this into perspective, the movie is 92 minutes long. That means we're getting a new kill every 5 minutes. That's when you know a slasher is doing things right. Though admittedly, this was 2006, and slashers still took a pretty fast approach to killings. You're not gonna get any Terrifier level of drawn-out murder here, but this is a product of its time, and the unrated version still goes hard.
Before we continue with our video, here's a reminder to click the Store tab on any of our JoBlo channels and browse our collection of the latest and freshest designs in our merch store. Go get you some.
Please dance the sugar plum fairies.
Oh, fuck, no. I'm starting to see the sugar plum fairies. I don't need to hear the little fuckers, too.
Language.
Black Christmas released on December 25, 2006, and made $3.3 million on its opening weekend. The film ended its worldwide run at just $21.5 million. Hilariously, there was a bit of backlash from religious groups over the film being released on Christmas. Wonder what these assholes think about Nosferatu. Unfortunately, the film was pretty hated at the time, but it has had a bit of a resurgence. At least according to me. There are still some that don't understand its schlocky side, but that's okay. Not every film has to be for everyone. I certainly know the terrible 2019 version isn't for me. Now, this is usually where I mention some awesome Scream Factory or Arrow video release for the film, kinda like this one for the original. But it doesn't exist. We've yet to receive this film on Blu-ray in the United States, and that is a damn shame. Because I need to hear Glenn Morgan and James Wong bitch about the interference that they had from Dimension. Just insert that directly into my fucking veins. This is literally the only thing that we have in the US. Importing be damned. Whether you hate this film or you just get the same sick joy out of it that I do, I hope that this at least gives you a new perspective on the movie. Because few modern horror films have entered my yearly rotation like—
Tyler, it's been over 20 years.
Fuck. Am I getting old?